Good morning, YouTubers. T Square here with T Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Tuesday, the 11th. It is Veterans Day, so a special thank you to all the veterans out there that are watching this. I can't thank you enough for that. And go out and treat yourself to a good meal today. There are a ton of restaurants that are giving out free meals. I know I plan on going out to eat at one of them. I know IHOP's doing stuff. Olive Garden, Red Lobster, Applebee's, just to name Buffalo Wild Wings, just to name a few. So I'm pretty excited to go out later today. So got a great video planned out for you guys. Today, I kind of want to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. A lot of people probably saw the price. If you're anything like me, you check the price multiple times a day. Now, I'll be honest, I did not check it multiple times yesterday because I did help a friend of mine out at his restaurant, and I spent part of the day just helping him out with different stuff going on there. And when I got out, my phone was bombarded with probably about 30 messages from different people wanting to know what is going on with silver. They thought that we were in a bust. Everybody was thinking that silver was done. I'm not going to say everybody, obviously, but people wondering what's going on. For those of you that didn't see, silver went up like $2 yesterday, and it's continuing to work its way up now. A lot of people are questioning this. Is this going to be a fake out? Is this going to be the end? We're seeing a jump, and now we're going to see it plunge again. Personally, I think we are seeing exactly what we saw earlier in the year. We saw this huge drop designed to trick people up. This drop that pretty well started on about April 1st. Technically, April 3rd was the worst day where it just really free fall down. However, by April 7th, the price had gone all the way down to $27 and I don't know, 50 cents roughly. But think about that. That was after silver was just $34.70 only a couple days prior. So you've got to understand that was a devastating drop. A lot of people were feeling that. They were devastated. They thought it was over maybe. Not you guys, not my loyal subscribers, because you guys have been following the channel for a while, and you guys are well aware on what's going on, and I thank you very much for that. In fact, if I didn't say it in the beginning, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button for me, leave me a comment on what you think about what's going on right now. But then, it didn't take long, because literally by June 2nd, April, May, June. It took 60 days before it was already back up to its high, back up to where it was, and then it just blew up and kept going higher and higher and higher as we've seen. Well, we've seen that play out again recently, and we've seen silver get all the way up to 54.50 roughly, and then it came all the way down to 45.50, and I'm sure that was devastating for people that had maybe bought or didn't sell. I know one guy, he bought some silver at $54 an ounce, and after it just got destroyed, he was not happy. I'm sure he wasn't happy, but it's already working its way back up. $54 right now, when you've got silver spot price at $50.70. Think about that for a minute. You're going to pay like a $2, maybe $3 premium, depending on what you're buying. That puts you pretty well right back up near that $54 level. And I think this is just getting started. I actually had a friend of mine, he picked up a bunch of stuff yesterday. He does have a business, so he does flip a lot of stuff and send stuff into refineries. And he was about ready to lock in a 1 ounce gold bar. And I actually told him, dude, I would hold off. He's like, for real? I don't know if I want to risk it. And we saw it continue to tick up right now in evening trading. And that's good. I mean, you can say that it came down a little bit. But from where it was in the middle of the day, we're seeing an uptick. And it's continuing to go up. Now, a lot of people are wondering what is going on. Why is silver and gold all of a sudden taking off again? It's not just silver and gold, though. And we're going to talk about that here in just a couple minutes. Bitcoin not really doing much, but we're going to come back to Bitcoin before the video's over. However, let's take a quick look at the Dow Jones, what the Dow Jones did yesterday. Up 380 points, closing at 47,368, up almost a full percent, which was a great day. The NASDAQ really doing good, up 522 points, or up 2.25%, closing out at 23,527. S&P doing really well too, up 1.5%, up 100 points. And a lot of people's retirements, they do go into S&P type stuff. So you look at the S&P, the majority of people's retirements is centered in there. A lot of people wondering why. Well, there's a couple things that happened over the weekend that they're now discussing. One of them being obviously a big one for the housing market, the possibility of a new 50-year mortgage. Now, I know some people might question this as a bad idea. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with a 50-year mortgage. I think a lot of people cannot afford the prices. It doesn't change the fact that they can't afford the prices. And a lot of realtors have been pushing the price basically even higher by kind of telling people, oh, it's a great time to buy. Oh, if you want to list your house, oh, yeah, they're going to pay you astronomical numbers and you shouldn't have a hard time selling it. They're cutting rates. They're going to cut rates again later in the year. When people hear this, it gets their mind racing. It's almost like you can't, what's the term, dream big or whatever from the Texas Lotto, or any lotto really when you think about it. They all want you to fantasize about how great it's going to be when you win the lottery. And realtors want you to fantasize, you want to sell your house, how great it's going to be when you sell your house for 3 times more than you bought it for, or even more in some cases. But people are starting to realize, well, prices are getting out of reach for a lot of people. Well, this 50-year mortgage, it just shows the direction that houses can go. If they approve something like this and banks start doing it, we could see houses jump astronomical in prices. And it won't take long, I don't believe, before people won't be able to buy a 50-year house. But that's okay, because the bigger the bubble gets, I believe, the more opportunity there is. The more opportunity when it comes crashing down. Because if a lot of banks do decide to roll with this and people start taking these 50-year notes, they're buying houses for higher and higher prices, I think if something bad happens in the economy, we're going to get to that here in a minute too, then I think ultimately, if all of a sudden they lose their job and they can't make the payments on that note, they're going to get foreclosed on. All of a sudden, a flood of these houses basically get repoed and then they hit the market. What is that going to do to the housing market? Eventually, the air has to be let out of a lot of this stuff because a lot of stuff is just growing too fast. And I think there is a reason why. Obviously, from the political standpoint, they want to keep the game going as long as they can. From the dollar standpoint, the truth of the matter is everybody is over indebted. The average person doesn't know what to do. They're just putting stuff on charge. They're charging on their credit cards. They're pulling out of their 401k for different reasons. They're draining the equity wherever they can. And I think when people start to see what's going on, they understand, hey, I got to get in front of this. And I think on top of that, the other thing that really was a huge thing, obviously, it looks like they're discussing reopening the government. It looks like they might be coming up with a plan. Supposedly they're going to be voting on it, on some kind of a deal to reopen and get things flowing again. Now, obviously, that's really good for the stock market. People feel more comfortable when the economy is They think the economy is booming because the government's open. The truth of the matter is, in my personal opinion, government closed, government open, what are they really accomplishing when you really think about it? What are they really doing? The majority of people are still working. I had one of my friends call me up, and he was really upset with the shutdown, with the laying off more workers for the FFA, and all this different stuff. But the truth of the matter is there's a lot of problems, and it's not just that. People don't really see that we cannot continue to grow this debt forever. I mean, you take a look at the national debt. National debt now sitting at 38 trillion 179 billion, and here we are talking about another stimulus deal, a $2,000 stimulus for almost every American. I won't say everyone. Obviously, the top earners, the high ups, they're not going to get it, supposedly. But they're discussing it. And as much as I think, hey, I'm not going to lie to you, I would love a stimulus check. Why? What is that going to do? It's going to make all prices go up. Yes. It's going to make precious metals go up, but it's also going to make other stuff go up. It really comes down to what you're going to do with your stimulus check, in my opinion. If you're going to go out and you're going to, I don't know, take a vacation, if you're going to take that $2,000 and you're going to go out and buy a new TV, oh, hey, one of them new Samsungs. I seen the new 80-inch Samsung TVs at Sam's Club the other day. Beautiful digital color. I was like, oh, that's nice. And I said, ooh, that's a lot of ounces of silver. That's a nice chunk of gold. And I can't do something like that. I just can't throw it away. But if you're going to take that stimulus and you're going to invest it in something that has a good chance of going up. Now, I know a lot of people do like cryptos, and I talk about that on here sometimes, even though I'm extremely against crypto. A hard asset like gold or silver, I mean, that could be a good play depending on your position. Now, I'll be honest, this is not financial advice. I'm labeled as an entertainment channel, and I tell you guys my thoughts on stuff and what I'm doing. And really, no YouTuber is supposed to be giving financial advice. Everybody's case is different. If even the financial advisors will come out on YouTube, and if they talk, they'll say, everybody's financial situation is different. In order to get good advice, you need one-on-one, talks. So I don't want people to take this as financial advice per se, but I do want people to kind of look into some of the stuff we're talking about. And the big question too, how high can silver go? I mean, here's the thing. We saw what I just showed you guys at the beginning of the video. In the beginning of the year, we seen, in April, we seen the price plunge. And a lot of people got scared out. And then the price really took off. Here we are now, we seen the price plunge. And a lot of people got scared off at 50, 51, 52, 53, and even 54. Now, to the people that got out at 54, they probably did pretty well. Hopefully they rebought it back, at 48, but chances are most of them did not. Most of the people saw it go down to 48. They thought the whole thing was collapsing like it did in 1980, like it did in 2011. But, now we're going up again, and now they've got to be questioning, hey, did I make the right choice? Right now at midnight, last night, I'm filming this last night. You guys are watching this morning at anywhere between 6 and it goes up at 6. But you could be watching at 7 or 8, 9. The stock market probably open. Overnight trading's done. The U.S. markets are opening. And we're seeing silver probably up to $51.50. And we're seeing gold going higher too. Now, I don't know that. You can see the clock in the bottom of the screen. You can see when I refresh these pages what the prices are. I mean, I don't know for sure how quick we'll see it run up. I mean, we could see it slowly continue to consolidate, but we've seen a good drop. We've seen a good consolidation, I believe, and now I think people are realizing. And we've done a couple videos. Yesterday, I did the video on now it's strategic. Why now is it strategic? Why did they just decide to do it now? Or is there another reason? I mean, really, I think, I've always said this, once they get theirs, then we'll see the price go up. Now, big banks, I think, have been, they've been getting theirs for a while now. The government, I'm convinced they've still got a lot of buying to do to get in a good strategic place for silver. I'm curious to see. I think when they start buying, people know the price is going to work up higher. And I think there's a lot of people maybe front running the government, but we'll see how that will play out. Now, one of the things I want to talk about too today, because, a lot of people think, oh, well, silver can plunge just like anything else. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it can't. Silver can come down, and it's going to be a devastating feeling for some people. If you're still acquiring ounces, then, hey, it's a buying opportunity for you. Who don't love a sale on whatever they like, whether it be steaks, Nike shoes, whatever, silver, gold. Everybody loves a deal. Everybody loves a sale. I think it's important, though, that people realize that gold and silver is not like a lot of these other assets. A lot of these other assets are not either they're paper or they don't really need it. It's a thin air asset like cryptocurrencies. And yes, I'm going to diss cryptocurrencies now for a little bit, because Bitcoin is showing some weird patterns right now. When you look at Bitcoin, what it's done even year to date, it's up a little bit. It's up 12%. I mean, there was a little while where people were saying, oh, Bitcoin's better than gold. It's better than silver. 12% is not that great when you really look at it year to date. You can't just look at it on, look over the last 10 years. I mean, it's only been out 10 years. You take any stock that's only been out for a little while, and it probably goes up. But when you look at year to date on the Dow Jones, hey, that's up almost 12% too. The NASDAQ, look at it year to date, that's up 22%. You look at S&P 500, year to date, up 16%. Almost all of which are equal or better than Bitcoin. But if you take a look at gold year to date, you're talking 50%. You look at silver year to date, you're talking 60%. And we were a lot higher. But yes, we did come down. I believe that what we seen was a huge paper short hitting the markets, selling paper, trying to scare people off. And a lot of people did get scared out. A lot of people sold. And a lot of people are still thinking that we're in... basically, we're about ready to start plunging in price, and I don't believe that's to be the case. I think that personally, we had a little bit of pullback, we had a little bit of a consolidation, and we'll continue to see it go even higher. One of the other things that I always like to look at on a daily basis is assets based on market cap. Now, you look at silver in sixth place. It had an amazing day. We went up almost $2. And sitting at $50.54, we're now sitting at $2.845 trillion. So in short, $2.8 trillion. We're climbing up the charts, but what was funny was because the stock market is really looking at this stimulus that it's going to help everything out, and the government opening back up that it's going to help everything out. However, it doesn't really change a lot for some of these companies, because some of these companies are already essentially overpriced. They're not manipulated down. They're not heavily shorted. And so, it did 3.89% up for Google yesterday. Almost 4% climb. Not as good as silver, but when you compare it to other stuff, hey, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it was top dog. It did great. NVIDIA up almost 6%. However, are these prices sustainable? I mean, we're already not even really looking at price per earnings ratios like we used to do in the old days. And once you start realizing that, you realize, man, I mean, what are these companies? At some point, people are going to realize these companies are all just overbought. And once they realize that, excuse me, let me get a drink real quick. Once they realize that, that could be a big pullback or a big correction in the markets. I get asked a lot, if stocks pull back or we see a devastating correction, is it guaranteed to take silver down with it? In my opinion, not financial advice, no, it's not guaranteed. Does it typically, will gold and silver come down a little bit? Yeah. If everything on the board comes down, is it bad if silver has a little bit of a pullback? Excuse me. No, it's not, in my opinion. Here's why. Obviously, when stuff goes down, margin calls go out. If Bitcoin goes down, margin calls go out. And people got to sell. They got to sell stuff. A lot of those people are going to sell any paper precious metals they have. If they have paper gold, if they have paper silver, they're going to sell it. And it's going to bring the price down temporarily. However, typically physical ounces, how many people are if all of a sudden Bitcoin falls, how many people are running out selling their physical ounces of gold or silver? If NVIDIA, you get a margin call for your NVIDIA stock, how many people are going out selling physical gold or physical silver? I mean, the stuff is getting bought up. And I think people are going to realize really soon that paper just don't cut it. And I really think this dip that we've seen, and now we're starting to see it climb, I don't think it's going to be super long before we climb even higher up. Now, the last thing that I also want to talk about, and I always say the last thing and then I keep talking. I'm sorry. I just like to talk. A lot of people aren't going to realize that each time we break a new record and then we pull back, it takes less time for it to advance back to that new record. So case in point, at the beginning of the year or in April, it took basically 2 months to get back to where it was and push even higher. This time, it looks like it could take 5 weeks. And people that aren't aware of this, all you got to do is go back and take a look at how long it took each time. You look here, how long it took. It got all-time high here. It took forever to reach that high again. It took a long time. But then it pushed higher. Then it had a big correction, came down. It came down for a while, and then it pushed higher. Then it had a big correction here, and then it pushed even higher. And really, it's been going higher and higher. But look at the amount of volume. If you can look, I don't know if you guys can see it that well on your screen, but if you look down here, look at the way the volume has been building. The volume on people buying, people selling. However, if I could zoom in on this for you on this chart, I could on another chart. I just can't really do it on this chart. You can see that the buying has been escalating. We're seeing a lot more green bars. We're seeing it push even higher. There's just a lot of people out there that are just really going to miss the boat. And we haven't seen the short positions have to liquidate their short positions yet. Eventually, those short positions will come due. And a lot of people want to make the argument that, oh yeah, but once they come due, they're just going to put even more shorts out there, and they can play that game forever. They can only play that game until they run out of silver. And as silver continues to climb, more people are going to pay attention to it. I'm convinced that one of the reasons why they let it go to 50 was to get a lot of people to sell their silver. Because there was this mentality, and I'll be honest, I even had it for a while, that if silver hits 50, I could sell half of everything I got and basically have every dollar that I've ever spent on silver back in my pocket. But somewhere along the way, I realized, and I don't know where the point was that I just realized this, that the dollars are not the primary goal. Everybody thinks the goal is dollars. Once you get your knowledge about gold and silver and sound money in a different place, in a higher, I don't want to say a higher realm. I mean, it makes it sound like spiritual or something. But once you get your mindset out of that dollar mentality, you start going into a silver mentality. And you realize that silver is real money. And when you start pricing up stuff, whether it be that $1,000 iPhone or cell phone, I don't know what iPhones go for. So someone that is an iPhone fan, I know my son has an iPhone, and I know when it broke, he's like, oh, I'm not worried. I mean, I feel bad, but I got insurance on. I said, you got insurance on your phone? And I couldn't believe that. And he goes, yeah, they're over $1,000. I mean, I don't want it breaking and having to foot that bill. So here's the thing, $1,000 phone. You have to ask yourself, a lot of people want to look at it at $1,000. When I look at that as a tube of silver, essentially. Would I rather have a tube of silver, or would I rather have a new cell phone? I mean, a new cell phone is great, but at the end of the day, once you really realize things could come crashing down quick. What's the worst thing that could happen to your silver investment for a quick minute? Let's just discuss that. A lot of people want to think that silver could plunge in value. What thing could make silver plunge in value? Silver is a commodity. It's a building block of a lot of different things. The building blocks of the everyday items that everybody buys, whether it be laptops, cell phones, radios, the only way, really, in my opinion, that silver could absolutely plunge in value is if all of a sudden they just had a ton of it on hand. Where were they going to get a ton from? So that's probably not a probable outcome. The next thing that could happen is everything comes down. Silver comes down, radios come down, laptops, phones, satellites, solar panels, it all comes down. Well, if everything comes down, I still got the same purchasing power because everything came down. And so that wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing. But when you think about the upside of what could happen, and I don't want to say the upside, I mean, realistically, what's going to happen is we're going to continue to slowly debase the money. And now, people won't be able to complain about inflation if they find a new way to back the treasury bonds, the dollar, whether that be with stable coins, whether that be with, hey, we get people to buy houses for more money, and we just keep money going like that. Yeah, stuff does go up, but a lot of people don't realize that when that stuff goes up, silver goes up. So ultimately, I don't worry about it. I think a more probable thing is everyday people are going to hold their savings, their extra money in dollars. And we're going to see everything just keep going up. And then people are just going to be complaining about, hey, everything just costs more and more and more and more. Because they don't understand. It's not that everything's costing more and more. It's that the dollar is going down in value and everything is just getting further and further out of their reach. Gold, silver, that stuff's almost consistent. But now I always get asked the big question, well, why do you like silver better? Gold is being bought up by banks, big banks, people that are smarter than you, people that know more than you. And maybe they do. I'm not going to sit and debate that. I mean, these people definitely have, I don't know, Harvard degrees, that, who knows, I mean, if it's the buddy system or what. I'm not going to sit here and knock a Harvard degree, I guess. But the thing I have to ask myself is, why are they buying gold? How much money do they have? I mean, if someone's got $1 billion or $10 million or whatever, some big amount of money, they can't really go out and just buy up the whole silver market without having problems. Look what happened with Warren Buffett years ago. Warren Buffett at one point spoke very highly about silver and gold. His dad was huge on gold, a firm believer in the price of gold. And then somewhere along the way, I don't know, he got investigated for trading and insider deals or something. And all of a sudden, that investigation threatened him heavily. He comes out, and all of a sudden, he don't have nothing good to say about silver. Investigation goes away, problems go away, and he sells his silver stack onto the market and essentially, never spoke about it again. I've always said if you have too much, you become a target. Look at a lot of these, I don't know if I should really be talking about that. They've got a pending lawsuit, some of y'all have heard, with AppMax, or not AppMax, sorry, JM Bullion, and a bunch of other YouTubers. And, you know, these YouTubers just gave their opinion. They repeated a slogan that was put out by a company. But yet now these YouTubers are in the crosshair too. I mean, people don't realize essentially the target that some of these people have on their back. But back to Warren Buffett. I think with Warren Buffett, I think he essentially sold out. He figured, hey, I can say I don't like it, and it's going to make some of these problems go away. And I don't know that's what happened, but it seemed very coincidental. And he's never spoke about it again. But where does big money put their money? They most of them put it in gold. And gold is a great safe haven asset. I'm not going to sit here and tell you gold ain't. But when the masses can't afford an ounce of gold, where are they going to put their money? I believe they're going to put it in silver. And I believe we're going to see the silver price really take off. But like I always say, that's just my opinion, not financial advice. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the future holds. I tell you guys what I think will happen. I don't think it will happen overnight. You're not going to see $200 silver tomorrow, most likely. Even if they did a full reset of the system, I'm not convinced we would see astronomical jumps in one day in precious metals, because the damage is done. Once they announce it, the damage is done. Now, some people have even speculated that maybe the first of the year, when all the new money comes out, that they may do some sort of a reset at that point. Now, that would be the prime time to do it. There's talk that they're going to make new coins. It's the 250th anniversary. They could make new bills. They could give them to the banks, give them a story about how, hey, we're just rolling these bills out for our 250th anniversary to celebrate it. Do not, under any circumstances, release them until the first of the year. And then all of a sudden, that weekend, some announcement gets made. Hey, go to the bank, convert your old ones, bank gets the memo, and that's it. And people have to convert, who knows, $100 for one of these new Fed notes. And all of a sudden, we just basically shaved 2 zeros off of our money. People believe that can never happen here in the United States. Like, we're above the laws of economics because of who we are. Any country in the past that has ever thought that eventually met a fate that didn't favor them. Now, you can look back at Rome. You can look back at any country. Cyprus, Venezuela, Zimbabwe. People think they can just print, and it's not a big deal. Here's the thing. Venezuela was one of the top countries at one point. They were on par with the dollar, essentially. They had huge oil contracts from Shell. They were pumping oil left and right. There was talk they were going to be the next Saudi Arabia, essentially. And look what happened. It all got washed away, and then in a blink of an eye, and not a blink of an eye, it actually took like 11 or 12 years for the whole thing to go downhill. But has that hill already started for us? Yeah, we're not at the cliff yet, but are we going downhill and picking up momentum? I believe we are. And I believe at a certain point down the road, that's going to be it. And you either can trust the system and think that the U.S. is above all that, or whatever country you're in. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what country you're in. Almost every country, well, I should say every country, I don't know of any countries right now that use gold or silver as actual money. But eventually, that's it. Kaput. And if you trusted the system and you just thought, I don't need insurance, ooh, that just made me cringe for a quick minute. Especially because I'm one of them people that say, I don't need hurricane insurance. I've been putting it off, and nothing bad has happened in the last 7 or 8 years. Yeah, we had a hailstorm. I didn't really have any major damage. But, eventually the bill comes due. I could have that all washed away with one really bad. I mean, I looked at one town that got the hail too, and I mean, they had a lot of damage. I mean, I've seen houses, every window in their house pretty much busted out, which was crazy to me. But, you know, it's something to think about. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a little insurance. Put a little money into gold or into silver. I mean, like I said, I prefer silver. I've been asked, oh, you're just pumping and dumping it. Nope, because I don't care. Really, theoretically, I shouldn't even say theoretically. I just don't want to come across as like a punk or a bad guy. If you buy it, some silver, and put it away, great. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your family. You ain't doing it for me. I don't get nothing out of it. That's why I don't take sponsors. You know what? I'm willing to let this channel grow one subscriber at a time the right way. And if it takes a little longer, great. I don't get any big companies coming on here with their fancy talks and this and that. And I understand. I mean, I get a kick when I listen to some of them. I was listening to one earlier today. The guy's like, well, he's talking about Contango or whatever. I said, why you got to hype it up? People don't care. Just tell them in a normal environment, you have the futures price more than the spot price. But in backwardation, you know, when stuff ain't going right, in a messed up environment where people are scared, then you have backwardation, or you have essentially a higher spot price. People want their silver now. They don't want it in the future. It drives me nuts when I hear some of these people use bigger words than they really have to. Because, I mean, who's your audience? Is your audience a bunch of everyday people? I mean, most of you probably are on your way to work right now. Maybe you're retired. Maybe you're just a simple person like me. You know, they hype these books up even. You read these economic books, you know, like Alan Greenspan's book or any of these. Jerome Powell's probably got, I don't know if he has a book, but you take any of these people, they want to hype it up. They want to make it sound like, oh, it's too complicated. You don't need to know. Just trust us. Invest in treasury bonds and you'll be all right. I mean, it's just funny to me. I bursted out laughing again this evening when I was listening to a video and they brought that up. He's like, well, it's all really technical and about Contango and this and that. And I'm like, whatever. You know, the truth of the matter is, I believe silver has been manipulated for years. There's proof of it. You can look at the court cases. They paid fines. They didn't care. They made money off of it. And essentially, because they've been manipulating it down, we've had an opportunity to pick it up cheap. Is it still cheap? I believe it's still cheap. I believe it's getting more expensive. Excuse me. I believe that looking at silver at now $51, if you're lucky enough to find it at that, I think you're going to be pressed to find silver under 50 right now. Excuse me. I think that if you look around, though, you can probably still find junk silver. I picked up yesterday, not a lot. I picked up 12 silver quarters, picked up 4 silver dimes. I picked up some half dollars, and I picked it up all under spot. I picked up my 3 half dollars for $40. That's $13.33 a piece. I picked up my silver quarters at like $7 a piece. I picked up my silver dimes at $3 a piece. I picked up a half ounce for $25. And, you know, that was it. So, you know, there's opportunity out there. Obviously, when you go to some of these coin shops, it helps, you know, if you go in and, you know, don't always volunteer. Be willing to negotiate. Understand that even if you say one thing like, hey, you know, I'm buying all this stuff, will you kick in a free silver quarter? See what he says. $7. Free silver quarter. There's a chance he may say, yeah, whatever, you just spent $500. That silver quarter makes a difference. People can't see that. What, you know, you spend $500 and they're like, a silver quarter. I've actually had people say that. Doesn't matter. Here you go. What does that matter when you think about it? Well, a silver quarter at 7, 8, and I think $7 is probably still low. I don't know what the actual spot price is on it, but let's just say, you know, 750 for easy math. If a silver quarter is 750 and he gives you a free quarter, that's like getting 1.5% off of everything you just bought. Yeah, you're not getting it in the form of a discount, but you are getting in the form of 1.5% more free silver for your money. And some of these coin shops, they're willing to do it. You know, they need that money because they can turn that money over. You know, what do you think they bought it for? They certainly didn't buy those silver quarters for a huge amount. A lot of these shops will try to kind of lowball people. I know one person, he picks up stuff. He pays roughly 5% under spot, but he's willing to take whatever you got. And some of those deals I end up picking up. And, you know, I think there's opportunities out there. You do got to look around. Coin shops, pawn shops, resale shops, even online dealers. Black Friday is coming up. It's right around the corner. There probably will be some spot deals for Black Friday. Now, if you've never ordered with some of these companies, when you call them up to take advantage of a spot price deal, keep in mind shipping. There's a fee with shipping if you don't spend the minimum amount. But even if you're picking something up at spot, that's a good deal in a way. So I think, well, let me see how long we've been talking. Okay, 41 minutes. I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope I gave you all something to think about because we are seeing, like I said, silver is starting to climb up again. We had a big move yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more big moves even before the week's out, possibly. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are watching this video after the market's open, and, you know, before the end of the day, we're up to $51.50. I mean, that's only 75 cents. Not a whole lot when you think about it. It would be basically another, I don't know, 1.25% roughly from where we're at now. But we'll see what happens and how it plays out. Actually, did I do that right? 1.25%? I was looking at that right there. I guess it would be more like maybe 1%. But either way, you know, every little bit, like I said, makes a difference. And same thing goes for if you're adding to your stack. Every little bit matters. I know some people, hell, I only have, you know, $50. What am I going to get, an ounce? It's not going to matter. Every little bit matters. You know, there's no such thing as a small guy. Either you got the silver or you don't. The only small guy is the guy that didn't have any. Because I think when it comes down to the end, the people that have precious metals are going to be in the driver's seat. Yeah, 1 ounce ain't going to make you a millionaire, but it definitely will make a difference, I believe. Every ounce will matter. So we'll see what happens. I thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you did not hit that subscribe yet, please take a minute, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Hit that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys again tomorrow on T-Square Talk. Hope you all have a great day. Take care, everybody, and have a great Veterans Day. So it's going to be a good day. I'm excited to go out. And a special thank you to all the veterans out there. Go out and enjoy a meal today, and thank you for your service. You've earned it. So take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Don't forget, check out some of these videos. I'm putting 3 good ones up so you can check them out. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.